A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another graphic novel review today. Now, the graphic novel I'm going to review today is a bit of a team-up one, and the reason I initially got it was because when I was going through my collection and looking at the stuff that I had reviewed and things like that, I hadn't reviewed any Punisher, or I didn't even own at the time actually any Punisher graphic novels. I actually own a few more now. And I didn't own or haven't reviewed any Doctor Strange. Of course, now I have a couple more. So, cheers to that. Now, I personally really like both characters. I think the Punisher is a fantastic character, has always been a favourite of mine, of course has always been a fan favourite, but I've always also loved Doctor Strange just because he is so unlike any of the other Marvel superheroes, especially back when I was reading them at the time. And you saw him pop up here and there. I never actually really followed his comics, but he popped up here and there, and then the movie came out, which I thought was phenomenal. Absolutely loved it. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was hit or miss for me. There were some good parts. There were some bad parts. But overall, I actually enjoyed the film for what it was. So when I saw a Doctor Strange Punisher team-up in Magic Bullets, this was a 4-issue kind of mini-series, I thought, well, this could be good. These are two characters that you pretty much don't see together. And if you just look at the cover, I mean, come on, this screams great story all over it. Then you look at the back, and you're like, what the hell is going on there? So I purchased it. It's been sitting on my shelf for a while. I actually picked up this along with the Punisher Daredevil crossover, which I have read. Need to read it again because it was a long time ago and I didn't ever get around to reviewing it because life kind of got in the way. So today I'll be bringing you Doctor Strange and the Punisher Magic Bullets. What did I think of this? It's a good story. It's a fun story. It's a stupid story. There is a bit of a kind of throwback to the character of the Phantom Eagle, who was a character from, I want to say 1968. Marvel Superheroes, 1968, something like that. Who was like a World War I pilot. He was half American, half German, and had to kind of hide himself as he was fighting the Germans, and so he took on this persona of the Phantom Eagle. That plays a part in this, but if you don't want a spoiler-filled review, I will let you know right now that this deals with the Mafia and demons and a white supremacist. And there you go. That's pretty much what you're going to get when you delve into this. But if you want to know the story, if you want to know what I thought about it, like the story beats and everything like that, if you want a full kind of spoiler-filled review, because you're not going to be bothered going out and getting this for yourself, then you know what? Let's just stick around for the next episode of
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
Okay, so this is Doctor Strange, the Punisher, Magic Bullets. Now, I kind of like the cover, although I will say right up front, I am not an absolutely huge fan of the art in this miniseries, but that's just a personal preference. It's neither here nor there, and it doesn't really detract from anything in the story. Okay. So, we open it up. We have a couple of Punisher kind of team-ups or whatever. Fantastic kind of logo there. And we go into issue 1. We have this kid walking with this kind of hooded guy, and he's kind of talking about this mafia family, the Fusilis, and they've got a job coming up, and this guy is kind of going along with it, not really saying much as the kid is explaining, you know, I really hope this works out. They're a pretty good mafia family, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out the hooded guy is in fact the Punisher, and as they walk into this restaurant where everything's supposed to be taking place, Fusili's Italian restaurant, the Punisher reveals himself and just kind of starts killing everyone. This kid kind of in over his head a bit, ducks out of the way, trying to dodge this firefight that's taking place. And kind of starts to head for the exit, realizes it's the Punisher, sticks around to watch, kind of like, that's fucking awesome. The narration is coming from the Punisher itself. You'll find that when it's in black, this is the Punisher kind of doing the narrative. When it's in the yellow text, that's Doctor Strange doing the narrative. So the Punisher kicks open this door and he's like, oh shit. Okay. Then we cut to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is in Coney Island and he's fighting this giant demon. We find out that for some reason his magic or magic all over the world has dwindled. There is a hint later on in the story that it's something to do with aliens have taken the magic, but we're not really sure. So he's fighting this giant demon. He's got this axe. But the people that are around him don't see the demon. They only see him. So when you get this kind of white background, it means that only people attuned to magic can see it. Everyone else just sees the person and not the magic shit. So Doctor Strange is kind of going at it with this demon with like guns and all that kind of shit. Of course, he ends up winning with the help of his like artifact axe. And then he's back at the Sanctum Sanctorum. He just wants to relax. Like, this has been really kind of taxing on him. And he's fucking tired. And he just wants to calm down. He gets one of his kind of assistants to answer the door. And she's like, you better come here. And it's Frank Castle, who comes in and kind of explains the situation to Doctor Strange about the Fusili's restaurant and the portal in there. The Fusilis, this is a brother and sister kind of a sibling mafia gang, and she's kind of furious about what has happened, this massacre. And she enlists the help of this guy who, if I can find his name, I read this last night. It's like Mancatcher or something. I'll work it out anyway. Mangrove. There you go, Mr. Mangrove. So she enlists Mr. Mangrove to kind of, well, her brother actually enlists Mr. Mangrove. And Mr. Mangrove is something of a sorcerer, and he goes down there and sees all the demons and shit coming out of this portal. Back at the Sanctum Sanctorum, Doctor Strange is kind of gearing up for this fight. He and Frank are having a back and forth, acknowledging that they've never actually partnered up. They've never actually been friends. And Frank is wondering why Doctor Strange is using all of these like relics and stuff when he just kind of has his magic. And, pardon me, instead of like just flying there or taking a flying carpet, they've got to go the old-fashioned way. So Frank hails a cab. While he does this, we see this guy down here who is kind of spying on them. This is the kid from the beginning who survived the massacre and has followed Frank to the Sanctum Sanctorum and is now calling back to the Fusilis, letting them know what is going on, hoping that by snitching, he will become part of the gang. Mr. Mangrove is using this magical tome and kind of examining this portal. The guy who took the phone call opens the door, sees what's going on, and because he's going to go and tell the Fusilis what is happening, and then he kind of slams the door shut as he watches Mr. Mangrove use these dark energies to further his own kind of means. Doctor Strange and Frank come to the restaurant. Doctor Strange says, listen, we have to do this quietly. We've got to sneak in. And Frank goes, I know what sneaking is. And then he shoots the first guy. And Doctor Strange is like, I thought you said we were going to sneak in. He goes, no, I told you I knew what sneaking was, but that's not my style. And suddenly the restaurant explodes. And we see that Mr. Mangrove has used the energies from the portal to give the Fusilis power. That is what they initially wanted. They didn't realize that by giving them power, that meant turning them into demons. We now move into issue 2 of the story, where Frank and Doctor Strange, Punisher and Doctor Strange, are pretty much fighting for their lives against these demonic hordes that are coming. Doctor Strange can hold his own, but Frank, on the other hand, is having a little bit of trouble because his weapons don't seem to be doing a lot, but he tells Doctor Strange, you need to go down there and you need to close that portal. I'll hold them off up here. The battle is vicious. One of the Fusilis kind of recognizes him, and then they kind of get into it. This is one of the parts that I don't really like, because Doctor Strange is like quipping here a little bit, and it's kind of a little bit out of character for him, from my understanding of the character of Doctor Strange, but that's okay. So they're fighting the Fusilis, and they discover that the Fusilis can now shoot hellfire from their eyes and from their hands, so the danger level has just kind of upped one. Doctor Strange manages to find the portal where Mr. Mangrove is summoning this giant beast thing, being fueled by dead people, so he needs this kind of massacre to happen. So they fight. Frank comes down, joins in the battle, but just as he's about to go and stop Mr. Mangrove, the female, the Fusili sister, takes him out with the Hellfire. Mr. Mangrove and Stephen Strange have a magical battle, which ultimately Doctor Strange loses, but he manages to teleport himself and the Punisher out of this basement of this restaurant. Not very far away, because magic is kind of fickle at the moment, but the Fusilis confront Mr. Mangrove, and they're like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Are you going to turn us back? Mr. Mangrove explains his ultimate plan, and they decide to go off and take out rival gang bosses, and that will fuel the beast that Mr. Mangrove is kind of summoning with necrotic energy. So everyone is kind of going to be a win here, and the first person they're going after is this guy called Steelgrave. That is their primary enemy. So they take like the female, I think her name is Lucretia, and Levio or Levito or something like that. I can't really remember the names. I read it last night, but I was had a bit of whiskey, so please forgive me. Frank manages to find the kid that snitched on him, although at this point he doesn't know he snitched. They take his car because Doctor Strange is like, we need relics to fight them, and I know where there is a relic. You've got to take me to the Brooklyn Bridge. So they drive to the Brooklyn Bridge. Frank confronts this kid. This kid's like, hey, we're all cool, man. It's all good, don't worry. And at this point, the Fusilis come to Steelgrave's hideout and basically just massacre him and take a whole lot of prisoners, killing them with hellfire and whatnot. At the Brooklyn Bridge, Doctor Strange kind of goes underneath it, explaining that the thing that they're after is the Phantom Eagle's plane. Now, I mentioned the Phantom Eagle in the intro. So this plane is like this spiritual relic from World War I. And Strange manages to get them all kind of upside down on the Brooklyn Bridge. And they have the Phantom Eagle's biplane hanging there upside down, and this is the relic that Doctor Strange believes is going to be able to stop Mr. Mangrove and his plans. Okay, moving into issue 3, we get a bit of backstory about the Phantom Eagle. So he was this ace kind of fighter pilot who shot down all of these Germans. He was a good guy. I know he was German American. I mentioned that in the beginning. And his whole reason for doing this was to get his parents out of Germany. And when he finally managed to do that, they hunted him down and killed him and killed his parents. And thus, this plane has this kind of supernatural energy. But you will find that it's always being followed by the ghosts of the planes that the Phantom Eagle had shot down during the war, which I thought was pretty cool. There's kind of a Ghost Rider energy to this thing. So, at the Lu Gang, this is another gang that the Fusilis want to take out, but also Mr. Mangrove does as well. They basically massacre everyone. The leader of the Lu Gang stands up to them, but is ultimately killed. Doctor Strange and the Punisher and the Snitch launch the Phantom Eagle's biplane, manages to get it flying, and that's when they see all of the spirit planes or ghost planes behind them. And so Punisher takes the gun and starts trying to take them all out. As they are flying towards the city, they see the two plumes of smoke. This is from Steelgrave's lair and the Lu Gang's lair. And Doctor Strange realizes that they have to go in with this plane and fight. At this point, the Fusilis kind of realize that everything's fucked. They are back at their own restaurant, but is now surrounded by police. The police can't see any of these demons, so the demons can kind of go out there and just do whatever they want. The younger brother, who his sister says don't go out there, but he doesn't listen to her, and he goes out there and he starts kind of killing police officers, and they don't know what the hell is going on. And then the Punisher shows up, and the Punisher is holding this gun. This is the gun from the plane. It has magical energy, therefore he can see the demons and he can shoot the demons, and this thing has an endless supply of bullets. So he just goes completely apeshit. The cops turn on the Punisher because they can't see these demons, but they can see the Punisher, and he's acting fucking weird because all they can see is him with his hands as if he's holding a gun, but he's not holding anything. And that's when Mr. Mangrove decides, you know what? Let's get some more demons. Let's go out there. Let's get some more dead bodies. Doctor Strange and the Snitch kind of fly the plane down, trying to use it as a weapon. And Frank is still using the gun on the demons. He realizes that Mr. Mangrove is kind of going to bring the big boy out. And that's when the Fusilis get infused with more power, making them stronger and harder to kill. And that's when the younger brother, goes out there and tries to take on the Punisher. At this point, one of the Fusilis flies up and tries to take out the plane, but it kind of doesn't succeed, and Doctor Strange, pardon that ding, that was just my pizza finishing cooking. I'm going to continue until I get to issue 4, then take it out of the oven. Mr. Mangrove sends all the other demons out, and Doctor Strange realizes the only way that he's going to stop this is by crashing the plane, which he does. The Snitch manages to survive, but Mr. Mangrove now has the giant beast with him that people can also see at this point. I'm going to pause the video here just to pull my pizza out of the oven. Okay, for those of you wondering what sort of a pizza I had in the oven, back when I was at university, my go-to pizza of choice was from Pizza Haven, and it was a spicy barbecue chicken pizza that came with barbecue chicken, jalapeno peppers, and though you can't get that over here, I found a really good oven pizza that you can get that had like the perfect amount of cheese and sauce. I cooked up some barbecue chicken this morning, chucked a ton of jalapeno peppers on it, and just shoved it in the oven, and that's going to be my lunch. So there you have it. Okay. Let's finish this, issue 4. The Snitch kind of sees what the hell is going on and sees the big monster thing that Mr. Mangrove has summoned. The purpose of him summoning this is he wants to wipe out everyone on the planet that is not white. He's basically a white supremacist. The cop rescues the Snitch, kind of tells him to get out of the way. The Punisher, with the gun, goes and runs to the wreckage of the plane, hoping that Doctor Strange isn't dead. He manages to find Doctor Strange alive and well, and helping this woman who has, in the ensuing melee, had her arm cut pretty bad. As he was a surgeon, he's sutured the wound and tells her to kind of be careful. They formulate a plan using the wreckage of the biplane. Doctor Strange is going to go and take on Mr. Mangrove, but Frank's job is to get the plane up and running again. Frank kind of doesn't really understand how that is or how he's going to do that. We see this gun firing and we see that Doctor Strange is the one holding it. He also has his shield of protection. Doctor Strange realizes that this plane is the weapon of a warrior and that Frank is kind of a warrior born. And so he can communicate with the plane. He can just say, listen, you lost the Phantom Eagle and his family. I lost my family. But if we don't fight this guy, more families are going to be lost. And he plays upon the emotions of the Phantom Eagle's plane. And as Doctor Strange is fighting the Beast, the Phantom Eagle's plane repairs itself with Frank flying. The plan is to get all of the ghost planes that have been hunting the Phantom Eagle, the planes of the people that the Phantom Eagle shot down, and they are going to come at this thing like you wouldn't fucking believe, which they do. The Snitch sees a truck full of water and he has an idea. It's a stupid idea, but it made me laugh out loud when the idea itself comes to fruition. So there's this firefight going on. Doctor Strange is trying to fight the Fusili sister, and the planes all attack the giant beast. But the only way to get this thing killed is to sever its connection with Mr. Mangrove. The Punisher manages to snag him with the plane. Mr. Mangrove is caught up, allowing Doctor Strange to do some real damage. But the female Fusili sister, still being controlled by Mr. Mangrove, is hot on their tail. At this point, the Snitch drives the water truck into the creature, doing absolutely no damage. He thought that by saying 15 Hail Marys over the water, it would turn it into holy water, and the holy water would kill the demon. Sadly mistaken, but fucking hilarious nonetheless. Mr. Mangrove is taken out by the Punisher. This is because he is no longer kind of with the demon, and therefore the demon itself is no longer under his control and wants to just fuck off back to this portal. The book is dropped, which Doctor Strange picks it up and leads everyone, all the demons and stuff, back into the portal, and then throws the book in there to seal the portal. At this point, Spider-Man is coming along. Doctor Strange tells the Punisher, you got to get the fuck out of here because Spider-Man's coming. And Doctor Strange takes the relic and pisses off. The female Fusili believes her brother is dead, but he's just a head. And she takes the head and they leave, still in demon form, of course. At this point, the Punisher tracks down the Snitch. And the Snitch is like, hey man, I did it because this is what I thought would happen. I'm sorry. Each to their own. We've got to do our thing. And the Punisher's like, yep. Shoots him in the head and leaves him for dead as Doctor Strange flies off in the biplane. Thus ending Doctor Strange Punisher, magic bullets. Now, in my personal opinion, this story was a cluttered mess. I didn't like the art. I didn't like the characterization of Doctor Strange in this at all. I thought the Punisher was pretty cool. I liked the concept of demon mafia. I thought that was kind of pretty cool. It was interesting that this was happening and yet no other heroes appeared. There's literally demons running through the streets, cops getting killed, biplane fights in the sky, and the only hero that shows up is Spider-Man at the very end. And I know this happens over the span of one night, but still, how many heroes are there in the city? You could at least have had a cameo from one or two of them, but that's neither here nor there. I did, although Nitpicking it like I did, it was a fun read. I mean, these are characters that we know, that we love, and that we never see them really team up. So seeing them team up, I thought was kind of interesting, was kind of cool. So in that respect, I did enjoy it. I did have fun with it. So there you have it. Doctor Strange, Punisher, Magic Bullets. Not much else to say. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Do all that stuff. But most importantly, share this channel with your friends. Okay? I've got some more graphic novel reviews coming up. Hopefully, I'll get a board game review. Well, not a board game review, a board game playthrough coming up very soon. I really want to get Marvel Champions back to the table. Plaguelands Media have projects in the works that I'm itching to talk about. And if we hit 500 subscribers, it's not a lot. We need 13 more. If we hit 500 subscribers, you are going to get a book review of the most offensive book ever written. And the most offensive book in my collection. So please, people, go out there and tell your friends, but most importantly, of course, stay safe. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Read a fucking book, people.